Hello everybody, what's going on? It is Tim Michael here at Tim Michael Arts, and on my YouTube channel, I guess I now call it Tim Michael. Things have changed a little bit since we've done this. So, we're actually doing a live stream right now, and I really appreciate everyone who's in here watching this. I hope that you guys enjoy this opportunity that we're taking to do more live streams, to put up more of my stuff that's my artwork that I'm doing for my clients, but I'm trying to find more ways to share stuff with you guys, and I think that just doing a live stream is the way to do that. And one of the things I want to do is I want to start offering tutorials, because you guys know I haven't had a lot of time to do tutorials, and I haven't been able to find a good way, but I may have now. So during the stream here, we're actually recording this tutorial. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. Would love it if you'd smack that like button for me. Let me know that you enjoy this, and we'll go ahead and get in with this quick tutorial, and then I'll get back to my stream. So it's pretty sweet. And Nathan just showed up here, and he goes, "I am first," which is cool. So we like having streamers in here with us and having a good time. Okay, so in today's little tutorial, I sent out a tweet earlier today, and I asked you guys what kind of tutorial would you guys want to have if I offered a quick tutorial, and someone said that they wanted more information on line variation, which I think I've offered that before in a tutorial, but quite honestly, I'm happy to offer it again. Line variation, there's only one way to even begin to explain line variation, and I'm going to do that by just going to town and trying to do a drawing without line variation and then one with. And I have no idea. I should have checked this before I got started, but I'm going to see if I can quickly adjust a pen or multiply a pen or duplicate a pen or do something so that we can try it in two different ways. I'm looking for pressure settings. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to do two different drawings. One's going to be with pencil pressure and one's going to be without. I want to see if you can see the difference, okay? And as I do this, we'll talk through different things and see if this gives you guys the kind of information that you want to know. Right now I'm using a Wacom 21UX, and I'm also using a G13 Logitech board, which helps me handle, pen size and things like that. It's very, very helpful. And so if you guys are looking up some of the kind of different stuff that I use, you can look it up there. So let's talk about line variation. Line variation serves many, many different purposes, but the one I think that it really, really hits on the most is quality of line. And you guys may know of the Line King, Al Hirschfeld. If you don't know, he has done a lot of artwork in the past for names like Disney, and he was a very popular caricature artist. He has passed away, but the man was an amazing, amazing artist, and he did some beautiful, beautiful work. And if you want to go take a look at his work is very, very detailed, and he did some really amazing things with just one line, just a couple lines, to make a really, really cool caricature. And there's something really, really beautiful about proper, honest-to-goodness line quality. Now, I am still affecting certain things of this pen, so the harder I push, the deeper that line is, and the lighter I push, the lighter it is. But you'll notice that the line variation is not changing in size. It's staying the same. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same face here in a second, and I'll start drawing it with line variation, and I'll explain what I'm looking for as I do these line variations here in a second. But I find that line variation gives detail. It lets you know where the light comes from. It lets you know where the shadows are, and it lets you know depth perception. And it's just a really wonderful way to look at line quality. And once you're all said and done, you can see your favorite artists based on their line qualities. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take this same image, I'm going to multiply it, and I'm going to move it over. And that's not a bad drawing at all. I think a lot of people would be very, very satisfied with the drawing that they would maybe see there. But I'm going to show you what makes this different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this other head, I'm going to drop its opacity way down, so all that's left is just a small highlight of it, so I can use it as a structure for what I'm going to do next. And then we're going to go back to my pencil, we're going to change that, and we're going to turn the pressure sensitivity back on. So now it's going to read the lines and the pressures, okay? And now, zooming in, I'm going to go ahead and begin working with the pen pressure and start shaping up what I think I want to see. Basically, when it comes to line pressure, like I said, it shows you your lights, it shows you your darks, and the way to best do that is to put thicker lines where the shadows are and thinner lines where the highlights are. So on the bottom of the nose, you're going to focus more on thicker lines. Okay, now you can do a lot of this without pressure sensitivity, but pressure sensitivity goes a long way. I can take any line I want to here, and I can bring it to a nice tight point at the end. Where if I did it with this other pen, no matter what I do, it's going to end up in more of a circle. Okay, now the other thing that's going to help me, and if you've never worked with a digital tablet before, this is going to help you, is to understand that the smaller you make your brush, the more that sensitivity and line variation is going to play a role. The bigger you make your brush, it's going to do the same thing, but it's going to do it on such a big level, it's going to look more rounded on the end. Or if I do that same thing with a smaller pencil, you can see that's much sharper. So keep that in mind when you're looking at certain programs. Now, another thing I'll do, and actually, if you guys don't mind, I will rewind back here a little bit and erase what I started, and I'm going to grab my pen tool. The pen tool, and I like using the G pen, I think it's an excellent pen, really gets the details of line variation especially. So you're really going to see this now as I get started here. So, new layer, and I'm going to go ahead and, there we go, new layer, and I'm going to go ahead and start laying these in here. And you're going to see certain lines that I choose to use are going to be really thick, and certain ones I'm going to use are going to be really thin. And you learn this over time. Like here, I'm trying to simulate kind of an eyelash, and the eyelash is going to carry a certain amount of weight to it, and that weight is going to be in depth. The side of the nose here is going to be nice and deep, but as it comes to the top, it'll be nice and thin, come around, and then nice and deep again for the bottom of the nose. And that was all just one beautiful line. Okay, and same thing in all of this stuff. Think about where the sun is. Think about what it could be shining on, and go for it. So a little bit more depth here in the lips and stuff as I deepen that in. Bottom of the lip, maybe add a little bit more there. That line variation is going to give you so much depth. And you might not have a tablet that can do that. You might be actually using a digital tablet like a tab or some other device that doesn't have that. I know lots of artists who still do amazing work with those kinds of tablets that do not have pressure sensitivity in their pens. Learn to create line variants with those by building up your lines. So if you don't have the ability to do pen pressure, that's okay. It certainly is easier when you have that built into your pen, but worst comes to worst, you can build it up. And if I remember here in a few moments, I'll show you how. So we're just going ahead and filling stuff out here as much as we can. And I'm just quickly knocking stuff together. I think something that's nice about pen pressure and about line variants is you can do the same thing in eyebrows, where you can add texture to eyebrows by having this nice highlight and stuff like that. And you can just see that there's a lot of depth already in this face, and I've barely even gotten started, okay? Let's look on the side of the face here as I start building this up. I love getting depth in the face by pushing really hard and then coming up. Basically a trick that I heard from another artist, and this is back when I was really into drawing caricatures out at the theme parks here in Orlando. One of the things that I learned from one artist is in your vertical areas, so in the vertical areas where you're going up and when you're going down, those are supposed to be thinner. Okay, in the areas that are horizontal, those are thicker. Okay. That forehead looks like he's got a humongous welt on it. Let's take care of that real quick. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off that same pressure sensitivity and line variance, which you can obviously see in there. I think you can obviously see that. I hope you can. I'm going to go ahead and go into the G Pen, and I'm going to turn off that pressure, and I'm going to try and create the same drawing on the first image, okay? So I'm going to make a new layer. I'll take the first layer, I'll drop its opacity so that stays hidden. Now let's go ahead and go into the brush size. I'm going to turn off that pressure. And get ready, here's going to be the fun part. Alright, here we go. Whoop. Let's do it on a new layer. I already hate it. And you can tell why I already hate it. It's just, it's really, really, there's nothing there. It looks terrible, quite honestly. And all I can do is go along with it. I mean, right there. I mean, I really have to do nothing further to show you the very obvious, painful difference between these two pieces. But I'm going to keep going, because that's what I do. I push things to their limits. Okay. There's no good way to get that same quality in the eyebrow that I like in the other one. There's no way to get good texture in it. You're just kind of stuck with what you got. Learn line balance. It will change your art. I can guarantee it. How's that commercial for tuxedos? You'll like the way you look. I guarantee it. Now, in a second here, I'm going to show you if you're stuck in this kind of situation where you have no ability to change your line values, I'm going to show you what to do. And it's not easy. It takes a lot more time. But if you want to have something where you can put aside the money and get something that does have pressure sensitivity, which right now, Wacom tablets, you can get a Wacom tablet for 50 or 60 bucks with really good pressure sensitivity. It's the right thing to do. Get it for yourself. If you want to become an artist, that investment is going to change your life. Okay. So there we go, and coming up the other side here, and there you go. So that's the exact same face with no variation of line. Now, obviously, I've done different thicknesses in certain areas because I like having thicknesses on the outside of the face and stuff. But you can see there's no variation of line there. Let me show you how to fix this. And this is a very detailed process, which stinks. But let's see what we can do. And I can tell you that it's not going to look nearly as good as any other face that I can draw. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pull this into the middle here so I have something to work with. Now, let's look at the same idea as before. We're looking at the idea of what can we do to the face that's going to help it out. Now, there's such a thing as negative space, and I personally find when I work with my eraser, I get really nice negative space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my eraser, and my eraser has pen pressure set as well, so I'm going to turn that off on the eraser too. So now I'm stuck with no pen pressure variation whatsoever. I'm basically drawing on my cell phone, on my tablet. I'm like a tablet that doesn't have pressure sensitivity, like a Surface Pro or a Note 10.1 or something like that. And we're going to go ahead and see how we can clean this up. Considering that I want to add depth in some of this, I'm going to go ahead and preliminarily, I'm going to go ahead and start by starting to build up some of the dark tones where sun is not going to be, okay? So I'm going to build them up, which means it's going to make this image look a little bit thicker. And that's okay. Like I said, it's not going to look even close to what the other image will look like. But I'm layering my tones, trying to build up what's there. Okay, and there's not much I can do. Most of the attention to detail that's going to be going in here is going to be more on the side of how we're going to do this. And like I said, it's going to be a very technical process. Okay, grab your eraser. And like I said, the eraser has no pen pressure either. So here we go. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to have to take your eraser and you're going to have to start cutting into your lines and shaping them with those points by hand. Okay, and like I said, it's no easy process. Learn your back button. Learn your undo button as much as possible. You're going to need it. And try and shape your tones. You can change your brush size. Anyone can change your brush size. The thing you can't change is the pressure sensitivity. So learn to shape your lines that you need using the tools that you have. And if you've done something where you've made a mistake, you got two choices. One, you can go back in and you can rebuild it back up. Kind of like this. There we go. Or I mean, and actually I would suggest that's the only way to go. is just build it back up. You can also make a mask if you really want to. If you're very detail oriented, you can make a mask and mask out the line so it stays sharp, and then if you need to, you can throw it back in there. But you can see in the nose, there's depth coming into the nose now because of this effort that I'm trying to put into it. But you can see the amount of time and detail is going into this, and I can complete this in 5 minutes or less on a really good quality tablet. And when I mean a good quality tablet, I mean a tablet that's $50, which is a good quality tablet. I would say don't get anything from anyone else except from Wacom. Wacom has the best tablets. And yes, I would not mind a sponsorship from Wacom. Call me. So once again, just shaping, forming, slowly pulling out those tones, and there's just no way to get into these tight spaces except to make your brush smaller. So you see this right here? I obviously can't fit in here, or else I'm going to erase that. So the only way I'm going to be able to do it is make my brush smaller so I can fit in that area. And then I'm just going to have to slowly shape out my line. Okay, like this here. I need this to be different, for sure. And it needs to be much smaller, and there you go. Okay? So you can see what I'm talking about. It's a very detailed process. I would suggest your goal is to make your lines, I like to call them dagger strokes, and that's a technique that you learn as an airbrusher, which I did a little bit of airbrushing. On my first video that went up on this channel was an airbrush painting that I did back when I was just learning how to work with airbrushes, and I still have no idea how to work with airbrushes, but I did a piece, and it was fun. And so basically you want to do dagger strokes, and that's the idea of getting a line to a fine point on both sides, and then build up the depth of that line in the front and in the middle of the line, but in the front and in the back you want this nice sharp detailed line. And you can see it's not really that bad. Let's compare it to the other drawing. Let's compare all three of them if I can. I might have to change my sizing around. And you can do this whole thing throughout the whole face. You can do it through everything. And that's with no pen pressure. None, not a nil. But you can see you're still building up a good line variable, a good line variance. So we can look at the before and after here. Let's go ahead and move this face next to this. And that looks completely different. It looks wonderful. There's depth in there. Do you see the depth? And do you like those points and edges? They're nice and deep. They're nice and sharp. Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and turn off the. Let's go ahead and turn off that first sketch. We'll move this face over here, and now let's compare it to the one where I did pen pressure in just a couple seconds. Here we go. Here it is with the pen pressure in just a couple seconds. There is so much information in both of these. And honestly, some artists may prefer one direction over another. There's nothing wrong with that. Thing I like is that details like this. Look at this coming down the nose. There is so much information here. This thick, thin, thick, all in one beautiful flowing line. I can't do that with this piece. I might be able to, but there's really no way to manipulate it into such a perfect single line. It's going to remain jagged. It's going to remain fuzzy in certain areas. There's a very, very difficult way to get it to that point. So you get what I'm saying? That's what pen pressure is all about. That's what you can look forward to when you get a pen tablet with pen pressure. That's the answer you're looking for. I hope that helps you out. There's so much more to this than this, but I think this kind of gives you a start to understanding what you need to be looking for if you haven't gotten the tablet yet, or you're looking for a new one, or whatever the case may be. So, once again, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this quick tutorial. I hope that it was helpful. Once again, please, if you've enjoyed this, the like button is everything amazing you can do for me right now. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. And then finally, it's really, really helpful for me if you like what you see here, it would mean the world to me if you would consider becoming a donator. Just donate $1 per video that I make, and you can set your limits. If I make 30 videos and you can't afford $1 per video for 30 videos, then you can set your limits, and you can say, okay, look, when you go into say, okay, I want to donate $1 a video, I only want to donate $1 a video maybe 3 times out of the month, or 1 time out of the month, instead of 30 times because Tim went crazy and recorded 600 videos. And you can set those limits. That way you can help me out, you can help me push even further with what I'm doing, and at the same time, you get these hopefully useful tutorials. So please, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, leave me a message on Twitter, ask me a question. I'm either going to answer it via video back to you on Twitter video, or I'm going to make a tutorial for you on another stream, okay? Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you all. Love you. God bless you, and I'll see you next time on another video here on Tim Michael.